best fight scenes in Spider-Man Brand New Day weren't the well-executed physical disputes, but rather the fights Peter took on directly within his mind. Hi there, my name is Ty, and I talk a lot. This film did something no other Spider-Man film has ever really been able to do. It held the ability to be able to represent Peter Parker and Spider-Man as a sole individual, with Tom Holland being the perfect display of both sides of this character. The notion of this just being another day for Spider-Man, one that is highly regarded in previous films, in other universes, this film instead builds up to embrace the idea that it's not just another day for Spider-Man, but in fact a brand new day for Peter Parker. We witness Peter Parker drowning himself in grief, the loss of his loved ones that have passed, but also others that he must mourn while they are still living. Peter puts on the mask in order to escape the life of Peter Parker, an attempt at evading his sorrows, an identity he no longer holds any value. In fact, since everyone has forgotten their memories of Peter Parker, it almost seems as though he's forgotten that part of his identity himself, relying on Spider-Man to be his driving force of life, a life that is worth risking every day for the comfort and safety of others, working endlessly as a method of self-harm, burying himself in that responsibility of great power. But when even his spider side becomes something that holds darkness, he has no choice but to suppress it, suppressing not only Peter Parker but now Spider-Man in order to keep the only thing he believes he has left in his life, trying to get rid of all the bad parts of himself when in reality he should have been embracing every single part. This becomes a narrative that he ends up facing at the end of the film, after spending the entirety of the film not only trying to fix himself but also Jean, believing that he was doing something good, only to realize and reflect that maybe all Jean needed was someone to help her, for her to realize that she isn't alone, in fact mirroring the same thing Peter needs. But he ends up doing what he believes he does best, sacrificing himself in order for Jean to take the message to heart that there are people who will love you not because you are special but because you are you. When he wakes up in the hospital to find himself not alone, no, surrounded by cards, surrounded by a crowd of fans waiting for him outside, waiting for Spider-Man, but inside that hospital room, Frank is there waiting for Peter Parker, as is the drawing that we saw MJ draw of Ned and Peter, an interaction that he had as Spider-Man, but despite that, MJ still drew him as Peter, proving that someone who can't even remember him sees him as both. He is both. Peter walks into this crowd as Spider-Man, no longer needing the mask in order to accept the support from the people he works so hard to protect, allowing himself to be one of those people he protects, one that grieves, one that breathes. As the film ends with credits of New York simply breathing and still, there's no crazy editing or art. In fact, the art itself is the city that he fights to protect and that he can now stand still in, breathing in the reality that he is both